imagine having a tool that not only helps you achieve your goals, but it also unlocks like a deeper understanding of yourself. That tool is journaling, and today we're going to deep dive into its kind of surprising power. We're drawing insights from the InflowFit method and advice from the field of positive psychology.
Okay.
We're going to look at how journaling helps you track progress, understand your habits, and even overcome the fear of success.
The fear of success.
Yes, that's a thing.
It really is.
Oh, it is.
And while many people might associate journaling with, a teenage diary or just venting emotions,
Yeah.
when done right, it can become a powerful tool for self-improvement in so many areas of life.
I'm already intrigued.
Yeah.
So where do we begin?
Well, one of the sources we have today comes from positive psychology expert Courtney E. Ackerman. And she really emphasizes the importance of daily journaling as a habit for success.
Right.
In fact, she even calls it time well spent, which I think is encouraging for anyone who feels they can't squeeze it in.
Time well spent is a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
So it's not just about scribbling down our feelings.
Yeah.
There's a real strategy involved.
Absolutely. And that's where the InflowFit method comes in.
Okay.
This method has a two-pronged approach.
Oh, okay.
Tracking your food intake and mood alongside monitoring progress towards your goals.
Okay, a two-pronged approach.
Yeah.
Let's unpack that.
Okay.
First, we have this idea of food and mood tracking.
Right.
Now, I have to admit, when I hear that, I immediately think calorie counting.
Right.
And that doesn't exactly spark joy. Is that what we're talking about here?
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
While tracking calories can be part of it,
Yeah.
it's really more about becoming a conscious consumer.
Oh, conscious consumer.
When you start tracking what you eat and drink, including the time of day and how you feel afterward,
Yay.
you begin to see patterns you might have otherwise missed.
So it's more about awareness than restriction.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about understanding your choices and their impact on your well-being.
Right.
You might notice, for instance,
Yeah.
that you reach for sugary snacks when you're stressed, or that certain foods leave you feeling sluggish.
Oh, right.
That awareness is powerful.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
If you don't know what's going on, it's hard to change it, right?
Right.
Speaking of food choices, we also have some advice from the NHS on processed foods.
Go.
They point out that not all processed foods are created equal. Some, like cheese or canned vegetables, can be part of a healthy diet,
Sure.
while others, like those fizzy drinks,
Fizzy drinks.
even the diet versions are best enjoyed in moderation.
Yeah, that's a good point. The term processed foods can be a bit misleading. It's not just about avoiding anything that comes in a package.
Right.
It's about understanding the ingredients.
Yeah.
And making informed choices
Yeah.
based on your own individual needs and goals.
So it sounds like journaling can be a valuable tool for making those distinctions, right? Not just mindlessly following some generic good food, bad food list, but actually figuring out what works for you.
Right. You can use your journal to experiment.
Oh.
Try cutting out certain foods and see how you feel.
Okay.
You might be surprised by what you discover about your body's unique responses.
I love the idea of using the journal as a tool for self-experimentation. So we've covered the food and mood tracking aspect. What about the second part of the InflowFit method?
Yeah.
This whole progress tracking piece.
Right.
What does that look like in practice?
Think of it this way. This is where you're celebrating your wins, big and small,
Okay.
and strategizing for those inevitable setbacks that life throws your way.
Right.
You're recording your starting point, setting targets, and really mapping out your journey.
So it's not just about reaching a specific target by a certain date,
Right.
but about recognizing those little victories along the way.
Exactly. InflowFit really emphasizes this idea that progress itself is more valuable than hitting a specific target.
Okay.
It's about building the habit and celebrating those small steps forward.
Now I have to ask, because I know this is a big one for me. What about when we fall off track?
Yeah.
It happens to everyone, right?
It does.
Does the InflowFit method address that?
It absolutely does.
Okay.
The method emphasizes the importance of not giving up,
Right.
even when you stumble. They highlight that those stumbles are actually valuable learning opportunities.
I like that reframing stumbles as learning opportunities.
Yeah.
So instead of beating ourselves up, we use those moments to understand what happened
Right.
and what we can do differently next time.
Exactly. And that's where journaling can be so helpful.
Yeah.
It allows you to go back and see those patterns.
Yeah.
Why do you tend to fall off track? What triggers those old habits?
Right.
By understanding those triggers, You can develop strategies to navigate them more effectively next time.
It's like having a record of your inner dialogue.
Yeah.
So you can start to recognize those self-sabotaging patterns.
Exactly. And, even revisiting old journals can be surprisingly insightful. You might discover that the challenges you face now are similar to ones you've overcome in the past. That can be incredibly empowering, realizing you've navigated these waters before and emerged stronger.
Speaking of challenges,
Yeah.
the sources also delve into some of the fears that can hold us back, like the fear of failure.
Right.
Which makes sense. But also, surprisingly, the fear of success.
Yeah.
Is that really a thing?
Yeah.
I mean, who's afraid of success?
It might sound counterintuitive, but it's very real. And it can be just as paralyzing as the fear of failure.
Wow.
You see, success often means change. And for many people, change, even positive change, can be scary.
So if you're successful in reaching a fitness goal, for example,
Yeah.
you might worry about needing a new wardrobe.
Yeah.
Or even about how changing relationships might be affected by your newfound confidence.
Those are great examples.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that change.
Right?
Even positive change.
Yeah.
Often requires us to step outside of our comfort zones.
Yeah.
And embrace new possibilities.
And that can be intimidating.
It can.
It's like we get comfortable in our current state, even if it's not serving us well, because at least it's familiar.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
But the beauty of journaling is that it gives us a safe space to explore those fears, to challenge the stories we tell ourselves, and to build our resilience so we can embrace change with more confidence.
It's like having a dress rehearsal for those real-life challenges.
Yeah.
We can process those fears in the journal before they have the chance to derail our efforts in the real world.
That's a great way to think about it.
Yeah.
And, one of the most common fears that can sabotage our progress is the fear of judgment.
Oh, fear is judgment.
What will others think if we succeed?
Right.
What will they say if we fail?
It's like that inner critic becomes the voice of everyone else,
Yeah.
projecting our own insecurities onto the world around us.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And often that inner critic is the loudest voice in the room.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. Journaling can help us turn down the volume on that inner critic and tune into a more compassionate and supportive inner voice.
That brings to mind that powerful quote from Mahatma Gandhi.
Oh, yeah.
Carefully watch your thoughts, for they become your words. Manage and watch your words, for they will become your actions.
It all starts with our thoughts.
Yeah.
And journaling gives us a tool to examine those thoughts.
Yeah.
To understand their origins and to consciously choose the thoughts that empower us rather than the ones that hold us back.
It's like we're taking back control of the narrative.
Right.
Instead of letting those negative thoughts run on autopilot,
Yeah.
we're becoming the authors of our own stories.
And in doing so, we can create stories filled with hope, resilience, and limitless possibilities.
So we've talked about the two-journal system.
Yeah.
The importance of progress over perfection, and the power of reframing setbacks as learning opportunities.
Right.
Now, I'm curious about the nitty-gritty.
Okay.
What about those tiny food labels that often feel like a secret code?
Yeah.
How does the InfloFit method help us decipher all that?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And one that many people struggle with.
Yeah.
The InfloFit method actually suggests a few tools for navigating those tricky labels. And one of them is the InfloFit method actually suggests using an app
An app, okay.
to help decipher food labels.
Oh, okay.
The Yuka app, for example, lets you scan barcodes and get instant ratings
Wow.
on the health impact of food and personal care products.
Oh, wow.
It breaks down the ingredients, flags potential concerns, and even suggests healthier alternatives.
So it's like having a pocket-sized nutritionist guiding you through the grocery aisles.
Exactly.
I'm all for anything that simplifies healthy choices.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, how reliable are these apps, really?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, isn't there a risk of becoming overly reliant on them without truly understanding what we're putting into our bodies?
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
While apps like Yuka can be incredibly useful for a quick assessment,
Right.
it's important to remember that they're based on algorithms and may not always align perfectly with individual needs or dietary preferences.
Right.
It's still crucial to develop a basic understanding of nutrition
Yeah.
and learn to read labels critically.
Okay.
Think of these apps as a starting point, not the final word.
So a tool for empowerment,
Exactly.
not a substitute for knowledge.
And speaking of tools,
Yeah.
the sources also mention another system that can help decode food labels.
Okay.
The UK traffic light system.
Oh, yeah.
Those red, amber, and green signals provide a visual snapshot of a food's nutritional content.
Focusing on things like calories, fat, sugar, and salt.
I've seen those labels, but I'll admit I haven't always understood what those colors really mean in terms of making healthy choices.
Right.
Could you break that down for us?
Absolutely. Green means go for it.
Okay.
It's a healthy choice.
Okay.
Amber suggests proceeding with caution.
Okay.
Maybe having it occasionally.
Right.
And red. Well, red means it's best to limit these foods as much as possible.
Okay, so red is a no-go.
Red is limit.
Limit, yeah.
Yeah, it's like having a built-in guide to navigate those overwhelming grocery aisles.
It sounds simple enough.
Right.
But isn't there a risk of oversimplification?
Yeah.
I mean, some foods that might be considered healthy based on the traffic light system could still be problematic for people with certain dietary restrictions or allergies.
You're right. Context is key. The traffic light system provides a general guideline, but it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. That's where personalized guidance from a healthcare professional
or registered dietitian can be incredibly valuable.
Yeah, right.
They can help tailor recommendations to your unique needs and health goals.
It all comes back to that idea of informed choice, doesn't it?
Right.
We're gathering information from various sources.
Yeah.
Using tools like apps and labeling systems.
Right.
But ultimately, we're making the choices that feel right for our own bodies and lifestyles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about empowering ourselves with knowledge and taking ownership of our health journey.
Now, let's circle back to those fears we were talking about earlier.
All right.
Particularly the fear of success.
Right.
It's such an interesting concept, and I think it resonates with a lot of people, even if they don't consciously realize it.
Right.
Can you give us some more concrete examples of how this fear might manifest in our lives?
Of course. Let's say you've been struggling with your weight for years.
Okay.
And you finally start making progress toward your goals.
Right.
You're losing weight, you're feeling more energetic, and you're starting to receive compliments from friends and family.
Right.
On the surface, everything seems great.
Yeah.
But then the fear creeps in. You start worrying about what this new you will mean for your relationships.
Oh, okay.
Will your partner still find you attractive?
Wow.
Will your friends feel intimidated by your success?
That's a really good point.
These are valid concerns.
Yeah. It sounds almost like self-sabotage.
Yeah.
We create these mental roadblocks to protect ourselves from the perceived risks of success.
It's a form of self-preservation, really. Our brains are wired to seek comfort and familiarity.
Right.
Even if that familiarity isn't serving us well.
Yeah.
Change, even positive change, can disrupt that sense of equilibrium, triggering anxiety and doubt.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
But how do we overcome this fear? How do we break free from those self-imposed limitations and embrace the possibilities that come with success?
Well, that's where journaling comes in again. It allows us to explore those fears in a safe space, to examine the underlying beliefs that fuel them, and to start reframing those beliefs in a more positive and empowering light.
So if someone is struggling with the fear of success, what are some specific journaling prompts or exercises they could try?
A good starting point is to simply acknowledge the fear.
Okay.
Write down your worries and anxieties, no matter how irrational they might seem.
Right.
Then challenge those fears by asking yourself, what evidence do I have to support these beliefs?
Yeah.
What's the worst that could happen if I succeed?
Right.
And perhaps most importantly, what are the potential benefits of embracing this change?
It's like holding a mirror up to those fears and forcing them to reveal their true nature.
Yeah.
Often when we shine a light on them,
Right.
they lose their power.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And once you've identified those fears, you can start to develop coping strategies.
Right.
You might create a list of affirmations to counteract negative self-talk.
Yeah.
Or you might visualize yourself successfully navigating those challenging situations.
So we're essentially using the journal as a training ground for real-life scenarios.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The more we practice those positive thought patterns and coping strategies in the journal, the more readily accessible they'll be when we face those challenges in the real world.
It all comes back to that idea of rewiring our brains, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We're creating new neural pathways, replacing those old patterns of fear and self-doubt with patterns of confidence and resilience.
That's the power of neuroplasticity. And journaling can be an incredible tool for harnessing that power.
Now, we've talked a lot about the mental and emotional benefits of journaling.
Right.
But I'm also curious about the practical side.
Okay.
How does the InflowFit method suggest actually setting up our journals?
Yeah.
Is it just a blank notebook?
Right.
Or is there a more structured approach?
Well, remember how we discussed the two-pronged approach earlier?
Right.
The InflowFit method recommends a two-journal system to support this approach.
2 journals.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued.
Good.
Tell me more about this double-duty journaling system.
One journal is dedicated to tracking your daily mood and food intake.
Okay.
Think of it as your personal data collection tool.
Right.
You're gathering information about your habits and patterns, noticing the connections between what you eat, how you feel, and the choices you make throughout the day.
So like a detective's notebook.
Yeah.
But instead of solving crimes, we're solving the mysteries of our own minds and bodies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the second journal is where you focus on your goals and progress.
Okay.
You're recording your starting point, setting milestones, celebrating successes,
Yeah.
and strategizing for setbacks.
Right.
It's your action plan, a place to track your journey and stay motivated.
I see. So one journal about understanding the why behind our choices. Yes.
And the other is about the how of making change happen.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful synergy.
It is. And the InflowFit blueprint also emphasizes consistency.
Okay.
They remind us that even if we miss a day or two,
Yeah.
the key is to get back on track.
Okay.
It's about building the habit,
Yeah.
not aiming for perfection.
That's reassuring because life happens, right?
Right.
We all have those days where we're juggling a million things.
Yeah.
And journaling might be the last thing on our minds.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's not about being rigid
Right.
or beating ourselves up for those missed entries.
Right.
It's about recognizing that progress isn't linear.
Yeah.
It's about embracing the journey with all its twists and turns and using our journals as tools for navigating those challenges and celebrating those small victories along the way.
Speaking of those small victories, you mentioned earlier that revisiting old journals can be incredibly insightful.
Right.
Why is that so important?
Yeah. What can we learn from those past entries?
There's something magical about flipping through those pages and rediscovering your past self.
Right.
Your hopes, your fears, your dreams. It's a reminder that we're constantly evolving, learning, and growing.
And it's a way to connect with our own resilience, right?
Yes.
We can see how we've overcome challenges in the past,
Right.
which can give us confidence to face the challenges we're facing now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like a tangible record of our own inner strength. And often we discover patterns in those old journals. We might see the same self-limiting beliefs popping up again and again.
Right.
Or we might notice themes in our emotional responses to certain situations.
So those past entries can offer clues
They can.
about our current struggles
Right.
and perhaps even illuminate the path forward.
Absolutely. They can help us identify blind spots, challenge ingrained patterns,
Yeah.
and develop new strategies for navigating those recurring challenges.
It's like having a personal therapist, living inside our own notebooks,
All right.
offering insights and guidance based on our own lived experiences.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
And sometimes those old entries can also bring up uncomfortable truths. We might cringe at our past naivete
Yeah.
or feel a twinge of sadness for dreams that haven't yet materialized.
It's not always easy to confront those past selves, is it?
No.
But I imagine there's also a sense of compassion that emerges
Yeah.
as we recognize how far we've come.
There is.
Yeah.
And that compassion is essential.
Yeah.
It allows us to forgive ourselves for past mistakes,
Mhm.
to release those old wounds,
Right.
and to move forward with a greater sense of self-acceptance and understanding.
This whole conversation is making me want to dust off my old journals
Yeah.
and dive back into those forgotten pages.
Mhm.
It's amazing to think that something as simple as putting pen to paper can unlock so much wisdom and self-awareness.
It truly is a powerful practice.
Yeah.
And, the beauty of journaling is that it's accessible to everyone.
Right.
You don't need any special skills or expensive equipment.
Right.
All you need is a pen,
Yeah.
a notebook,
Mm-hmm.
and a willingness to explore the depths of your own inner world.
And that willingness to explore, that's the key, isn't it?
It is.
It's about being curious, open-minded,
Yeah.
and willing to embrace the messy, imperfect beauty of our own human experience.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
And on that note,
Yeah.
let's talk about something that can often hinder that exploration.
Okay.
negative self-talk.
Oh, negative self-talk.
Our sources emphasize how detrimental this can be to achieving our goals.
Yeah.
And living a fulfilling life.
It's like that inner critic we talked about earlier, the one that whispers doubts and fears into our ears, holding us back from our true potential.
Exactly. And often that inner critic is louder than any external voice.
Right.
It can sabotage our efforts before we even get started.
Yeah.
Convincing us we're not good enough, smart enough, or worthy enough to succeed.
The sources actually reference that powerful quote from Mahatma Gandhi about how our thoughts shape our destiny.
Right.
They become our words, which become our actions.
Exactly.
Which ultimately create our reality.
It's a profound reminder that our thoughts hold immense power.
Yeah.
And if we're constantly bombarding ourselves with negativity and self-doubt,
right,
it becomes almost impossible to create a positive and fulfilling reality.
So how do we redirect that negative self-talk?
Yeah.
How do we turn down the volume on that inner critic and cultivate a more compassionate and supportive inner voice?
Well, journaling can play a key role in this transformation.
Okay.
It allows us to become aware of those negative thought patterns, to understand their origins, and to consciously choose different thoughts.
So instead of letting those thoughts run on autopilot, we're starting to question their validity.
Exactly.
Are they really true?
Yeah.
Are they serving us?
And then we could start to replace those negative thoughts with more positive and empowering ones.
Okay.
For example, instead of saying, I can't do this, try saying, I'm learning and growing every day.
Oh, okay.
Instead of saying, I'm not good enough, try saying, I am worthy and deserving of love and happiness.
It's about changing the narrative we tell ourselves.
Right.
Shifting from a mindset of scarcity and self-doubt to a mindset of abundance and possibility.
And that shift in mindset can have a profound impact on our action and ultimately our lives.
I love that. So we're not just passively observing our thoughts.
Right.
We're actively engaging with them.
Exactly.
Challenging them and choosing the ones that empower us to create the life we desire.
And that process of active engagement is where real transformation happens.
Now, we've talked about a lot of different aspects of journaling today.
Yeah.
Everything from tracking progress and deciphering food labels to overcoming fears and redirecting negative self-talk.
Right.
But before we wrap up, I'm curious to hear your perspective on the role of technology in all of this.
Okay.
We briefly discussed apps like Yuka that can assist with food choices.
Right.
But how do you see technology both enhancing and potentially hindering our efforts when it comes to journaling and self-improvement?
That's a great question. Technology can be both a powerful tool and a potential distraction.
How so?
Well, on the one hand, technology provides us with incredible resources to support our journaling practice.
Okay.
There are apps that can track our food intake, monitor our progress, offer personalized guidance, and even connect us with virtual journaling communities.
Oh, what?
But there's always a but, isn't there?
Yeah, there always is.
The challenge lies in using technology mindfully and intentionally.
Right.
It's easy to get caught up in the endless stream of information and distractions that technology offers, losing sight of the core purpose of journaling.
Right.
Which is to connect with ourselves on a deeper level.
So it's about finding that balance between leveraging the benefits of technology while also protecting our time and energy for focused reflection and self-discovery.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sometimes the most profound insights emerge when we disconnect from the digital world and create space for quiet contemplation.
I couldn't agree more. It's about finding that sweet spot.
Yeah.
Where technology enhances our efforts without overshadowing the core purpose of journaling, self-reflection and growth.
Exactly. It's a delicate dance,
yeah,
but one that's worth mastering.
Well, this has been an incredible journey into the world of journaling.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground, from practical tips and techniques to deeper insights into the power of self-reflection and personal growth. But before we sign off, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought to ponder. We've explored the how-tos and the strategies, but let's talk about the deeper why behind journaling.
Okay.
Why should we bother with all this introspection and self-reflection?
Yeah.
What's the ultimate payoff?
That's the heart of it, isn't it? It's not just about achieving those external goals, the weight loss, the career success.
Right.
It's about cultivating self-awareness, understanding our motivations, and ultimately living a more fulfilling and authentic life.
There's that famous quote, often attributed to Socrates.
Right.
The unexamined life is not worth living.
Yeah.
It feels relevant here.
It does.
Journaling gives us that tool to examine our lives,
Right.
understand ourselves better, and make choices that are truly aligned with our values.
And as we learn more about ourselves through journaling, we become better equipped to navigate the inevitable challenges and opportunities that life throws our way.
Right.
We build resilience, develop self-compassion, and create a stronger foundation for lasting change.
So it's not just a tool for personal growth, but also a tool for creating a more meaningful and impactful life.
Absolutely. By understanding our strengths and weaknesses, our values and beliefs, we can make choices that lead to greater happiness, stronger relationships, and a sense of purpose that extends beyond ourselves.
It's like journaling gives us a roadmap to becoming the best versions of ourselves.
It's not about striving for some idealized version of perfection, but rather about embracing our authentic selves.
Right.
Flaws and working with those imperfections to create a life that feels both meaningful and fulfilling.
And isn't it incredible that something as simple as putting pen to paper can have such a profound impact?
It's the power of intentional reflection.
Yeah.
When we take the time to observe our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, we gain insights that might otherwise remain hidden.
Right.
And those insights can be transformative.
So to wrap up this deep dive, I want to pose a question to you, our listener.
Okay.
What one small step can you take today to begin or enhance your journaling practice?
And what do you hope to learn about yourself along the way?
Yeah.
What mysteries are you ready to unravel within the pages of your own journal?
Remember, the most important step is simply to begin. Start small, be consistent, and most of all, be curious.
Yeah.
You might be surprised by what you discover within yourself.
Your journal is a safe space for exploration, a canvas for your inner world, and a powerful tool for creating the life you truly desire. Happy journaling.